Welcome to Crest Drive. Today we are building something different. Not a typical city district, but a standalone amusement park. No cars, no highways, at least not at first. Visitors will arrive by ferry and the goal is simple. Can a pedestrian first leisure island actually work in city skylines too? Parks, attractions, a Ferris Wheel, mixed-use buildings, and a lot of greenery, designed to feel natural, not overcrowded. If you are curious how an empty island turns into a real urban attraction, let's get started. Let's start the construction. I decided to build our small amusement park district on this island. I am not going to use the entire island, only a part of it, because I want to leave room for future expansion. Technically, this could be connected by a bridge later on, but for now I will design it so visitors can reach the island by ferry. First, I am preparing the terrain. I am flattering and smoothing the surface to make construction easier, while still keeping a natural shoreline. The terrain tools work really well here, especially the soften tool, which helps avoid that overly artificial look. Next comes the road layout. Along the coastline, I am using key roads because they make waterfront construction much easier. You don't have to constantly worry about how the edge looks, it just works. And even if you don't own the Bridges and Posts DLC, that's fine. A basic key roads was added in the 2025 summer update, so everyone can use this approach. There is a small house here that I am keeping on purpose. It adds character and not everything needs to be bulldozed. From here, I extend the shoreline road all the way to the ferry arrival point. One big advantage of City Skylines 2 over CS1 is that adjusting water levels no longer causes instant flooding. In the first game, this was risky, but here we can shape the shoreline much more freely. You can use the soften terrain tool the same way you would on land, to make water edges look more natural too. I am also designing the island with two elevation levels, a lower road and an upper road. This gives us better visual depth and helps separate different functions. If you pay attention to how the keys are drawn, the final result looks much cleaner. For the road network, I am adding one main road that acts as the spine of the island. Almost everything else will be handled with Pedestrian Street because most visitors won't arrive by car. I will add a small cross street, but overall this is a pedestrian-focused area. If you don't want to build a traditional bridge, K roads can also work. But in this case, it looks more like a dam than a bridge. Personally, I think the arch bridge solution looks best here. It fits the theme and blends nicely with the waterfront. Before placing anything else, we need infrastructure. Since the island isn't connected to the mainland yet, power has to be brought in manually. I am routing electricity underground to keep the area clean visually, and I am running water and sewage along the same path. One thing to keep in mind, electricity transfers automatically, but water doesn't, so pipes must be connected explicitly, especially if you are running them across a bridge but not on highways. This section is slightly too low, so I raised the terrain just a little, just enough to keep the buildings and pipes above water. Problem solved. Now we can finally move on to pedestrian streets and parks. Wide pedestrian streets are much easier to use in City Skylines 2 than in the first game. In CS1 they only worked inside the pedestrian district. Outside of that you could still place them, but only if there were no buildings directly connected to them. Fortunately, CS2 is much more flexible. Pedestrian streets can be used freely, though they still work best in areas with low car traffic and lots of foot traffic. Here you can even add roundabouts to pedestrian street, which not only improves traffic flow, but also makes the layout look much more polished and intentional. In the early stages, the only transport connection to the island will be by ferry using the Bridges and Ports DLC. There are two types of small ferry stations available, but only the ferry stop key is compatible with this type of road. After connecting the ferry stop to the narrow boatway, the island is now part of the existing ferry loop that circles the area. Since there is already a nearby route running around the island, I am not planning to launch a new one, unless traffic increases significantly later on. With transport access in place, the construction of the amusement park can officially begin. City Skylines 2 doesn't have a standalone amusement park expansion, but the Bridges and Ports parks come surprisingly close. You get playgrounds, carousels, cafes, restaurants, and even an enchanted castle that fits perfectly with a Halloween-style theme. There are also Ferris wheels, both small and large. I will start with one of those and then place the rest of the parks naturally without overcrowding the area. Connecting these parks works much better than in early City Skylines 2. Sometimes you will want to turn snapping off. Not every path needs to be functionally connected as long as the visual flow is there. I will speed up the simulation and see if tourists actually arrive by ferry. This is a bit of an experiment. Can an island like this work without a direct land connection? Even so, I will eventually add a bridge. But before that, I want to strengthen the island by adding mixed-use residential buildings. Amusement parks naturally have a slightly old-fashioned turn-of-the-century vibe, so historic mixed-use buildings fit perfectly here. North American Oldtown buildings work well, but urban promenade or even Mediterranean heritage assets also blend in nicely. Mixed residential zones don't just look good, they actually make a lot of sense here. Since they combine residential and commercial in one building, it's the visitors to the island who support the businesses on the ground floor. And because of that, the residents upstairs don't need to pay rent. The commercial income covers it. From this point on, it's all about the fine details: trees, props, painted ground surfaces, and zoning. Custom ground painting can really transform the area, especially if you want the park to feel more natural and less like a grid. Moreover, pedestrian paths are great for softly dividing zones without using hard borders. The first tourist has finally arrived, so yes, the island can function without a direct road connection. Later on, though, I am planning to build a bridge as well, just to show you the largest one available in the game. Even though this is technically an amusement park island, you can still add other types of leisure attractions here. There is plenty of space for it. And if you want a cleaner, more polished look, it is a good idea to use the surface painting tool to define the ground textures manually. Right now, there are two green surface types available, which gives you enough variety to gradually build out the area. If zoning behaves inconsistently or doesn't align properly along roads, adding narrow paths can help fix it. These act as subtle dividers, allowing for more precise zoning along their edges. As the island becomes more popular, it is time to add the bridge. This spot at the edge works best. Bridge construction isn't trivial, the clearance has to be high enough, otherwise the game won't allow it. I am using the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, which is available for players who pre-order the game. It takes some effort to raise and smoothly connect it, but once it's done, the island is finally linked physically to the city. Next, I add a playground area and decorate it further with free props. Small pedestrian paths help break up long straight lines and make the area feel more natural. I continue placing remaining bridges and ports building like the Pavilion restaurant and add visual landmarks to enrich the island. A quick tip: if you need to remove trees, always do that before painting ground surfaces. One wrong move and you can destroy carefully designed terrain. Now focus on bike access. Large bike parking facilities make sense here, and sure enough, cyclists will soon start using it. Parking is also important. I prefer Dutch-style parking because it offers high capacity while taking up relatively little space. Certainly, no amusement park is complete without a large Ferris wheel. This spot is perfect for creating a cozy public space with a nice fountain as the centerpiece. I will also add some benches so people have a place to sit and eat, including the ones from the skyscraper's back, and of course a few trash cans. Autumn has arrived, making the park even more atmospheric. I add park service buildings to keep everything officially classified as parkland, and then finish the landscaping with trees, bushes and flower beds. We are almost done. Just one last area remains. This little bug-shaped spot. Well, not that little actually, but it is a perfect place to build something interesting. It is a great opportunity to use some of the colorful buildings from the leisure venues content creator pack. They really add life and style to this area. Also, don't forget, surface textures can apply not just on flat terrain but on slopes too, helping you create much more natural looking hillsides. I demonstrate how this works to clean up the edges and finalize the layout. And with that, our amusement park island is complete. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this build, leave a like, drop a comment and subscribe for more city building content. See you in the next video. Wishing you a great day and happy city building!